Hello everybody, it's Mr. Sangsake presenting the OpsRadar. Welcome to the OpsRadar. As a dev, as we all know that in the institutional, the problem is that the company lacks the tools. The problem is that the work falls between the tools. OpsRadar becomes the coordination layer that keeps internal requests moving. It is also an orchestration layer that manages all other tools for the keep moving internal request. The problem company does not lack tools. It already have a Slack, Jira, email, spreadsheet, and many others. But the problem is that the internal work falls between those tools. A simple access request might start in the Slack message and get approved in the reply thread, and nobody knows the real owner, data and status. Who knows the next step? Don't know. Nevertheless, and further, this problem we are being solved by the many like employee need access, Slack message, Jira ticket, opening an email thread, many and manager memory. Who owns the next step? No single source of truth, no owners and no status. Similarly, here email thread, who owns it? Unclear status. Approval buried in the stack of the many messages and the and jungle of the threads and no audit trails, no coordination cause that that forms and compounding, which makes the status unclear for the months and building and the productivity drastically reduced. For that purpose, we are introducing our OpsRadar. It is an internal request coordination system. It gives the teams one source of truth for the request approval, fulfillment, and audit history. And OpsRadar. This is an sample process for the this is the workshop. The we can say the project, and for this purpose I have the sample order process, and here we have to got the event log. Here event is register request 6, check ticket, deciding, examining, and examining thoroughly. Like here the approval inbox, the request catalog, approval inbox, and here is an this the friction is friction dashboards regarding the data of the top workflow frictions and in which department, as that might be customer support, insurance claim. Now core value. OpsRadar doesn't converts scattered work into trackable lifecycle. One record, one owner, one status, and one audit makes it more better for orchestrating and managing. Here is the control intake, request recorded, role routing, and if the policy reason, and in the approval, if it has a proper policy reasons, and it goes directly to the audit timeline, and the approval inbox, decision comment, and if fulfillment of tasks, access granted. Friction matrix. Similarly, now here is an access request demo flow. Uh, Here the employee creates an structured access request. The access request is like this for the employee, and they just start, or there will be many other local uh, workflow templates that has been that can be configured like this, and this also can be configured, and all processes is much configurable by the admins and the proper administrator. And as from the view of perspective of the employee, they create and just like a access request, and the workshop is sample order process, and resource is access request for the test data, and access level is standard, and here business reason, they clarify the what reason they are for doing for, and create the request. Here comes the in approval inbox. Instead of sending creates, it also is automatically initiated through the intake source structured access request from the request catalog, big from the Slack message. I will like the requesting for the similarly to that request was chosen the access level. Look, here is the access level, and if OpsRadar can also warn about the duplicate open request, and here is there is already an open request for this resource in the selected open data is flagging it before you create a duplicate work. And anti-pattern was high risk access executed without the security review, and it also prevents through the process mining and same mode from being fragmented again. To do it, we have much better, and to the it came in the respective approval, and for this respective approval they watch it and look after it, make the decision comment. They can I will approve it. Similarly, they have been much better and much better timeline, and we approve it. And for now this is for the respective person, so it is showing now the approval routing. Here goes we go in technical proof of database backed life cycle, not a static UI, where the requester creates a structured access request to the OPS, and it checks for the duplicates and evaluate policy role routing, create approval task where the manager or approver, and the log request is submitted and routed to the audit pipeline, and approve with a comment, create a fulfillment request and mark simulated fulfillment complete, and log grant plus completion. This is request completed. OpsRadar manager, and the full operation loop works end to end. Draft, submitted, possible duplicate review, continue, submitted. And here it goes on the policy check pending, and the policy pending approval from the approver, and it asks for request for more info on the, and it makes the task on the policy check on the waiting list of the requester, and if the provided info is on that, if it get approved, then the fulfillment pending, and if the fulfillment also is marked as complete and completed, that the single point where it is completed and make, and the audit is simulatedly fulfilled. As for the rows approval countable, in the approval inbox, the approval see what is being the approval see this is the admin dashboard. One could not access the others dashboard, and when the request is submitted, the OpsRadar creates a real request, and that's all in the pending, and creates a real request record, evaluates the request type, and the request type is like a customer support sample order process, and all the details are in the front. In the approval inbox, the approver sees what is being requested and what is needed, what action is required, and here goes on with this format, structure format. and every actions becomes here in the here in the every action becomes a part of the request timeline. The life cycle timeline, that's also called audit timeline of the submitted, policy checked, approval, request submitted, and the request submitted, request created, and the fulfillment completed. That means the IT or security can answer who approved or access when they approved, when the approver approved, and it and why. This is a decision comment and why, without digging through a Slack for the heavy messages. And we go on with the fulfillment, and for this prototype the fulfillment is simulated. This let us prove the full operational loop without spending hackathon time integrating and every vendor API. And IT admin marks fulfillment complete, marks the fulfillment complete, as it let us approve the operational loop. It operational loop, and without the spend an IT admin fulfillment radar ops radar records the simulated access grant and the request closes. That's around the approval inbox. The request is closed and the approval approves, and it is being sent as a fulfillment completed. And the business impact is much more than we can imagine. um, Here, the quantified business impact. The business impact is the value is measurable as for this case we guess there have been 200 internal requests per month, and this OpsRadar said just 15 minutes of per request. Then and status says per request that is 50 hours saved each month at $50 per hour. That will be around $30,000 per year in the avoidable coordination cost, before counting faster onboarding, fewer year and easier audits. This makes the saving comes from the fewer followers, fewer duplicate requests, clear ownership, faster approval, easier audit reconstruction. As this is for the judges to know the real world impact, and the feasibility is the OpsRadar is practically just, it does not replace Slack or Jira or any other platform for the separate any other platform like Slack, Jira, and it adds an structured coordination layer. The existing tools like Slack, Jira, Google Workspace, and the Google Chat, Meet, and all other third-party tools are the existing tools for which the OpsRadar is a practical, which just adds the structured coordination layer around them and control them intake, routing, approval routing, life scale status, and fulfillment and audit history. Teams can start with the simulated fulfillment and add real connection later. That's that's their MCP coordination layer, teams request, manager approval, and many more, audit history, and much more, for not taking around the Slack messages for the much more details and the discussion. As OpsRadar has to move faster with a fewer dropped requests and fewer duplicate effort and less back and forth between the same request, and continuing with the another, and giving the time with the other requests. And we have existing here we have just we have said existing sources, and the existing sources are this PostgreSQL, MySQL, if the database are used. And for this, the Jira is their instance URL, their email, API tokens, and project key, and these are all just saved in server and not cannot be seen once configured. And similarly with the GitHub and GitHub personal access token or owner and repository name, and also support for Udo. And on furthermore, the REST API also can be configured with a sync, and other third-party tool support are also being considered and will be soon be available. And there will be structured intake, and we have OpsRadar. Just do not have that, but also have a role builder with not only the pre-configured IT admin manager, but also the one could make the custom rule with the permission configured only by the super admin. And workflow frictions and alerts radar, these are just a workflow for the checking the faster operation of the and the lower friction of the request. As OpsRadar helps team move faster, and it turns hidden coordination charts into operational system of needs. And this is just a OpsRadar one record, one owner, one status, and with all this, one audit trail. Thank you for the thank you to everyone.